Phase 5 of the MCU has officially been completed as Thunderbolts drops in theatres this weekend, and I got a chance to see it opening day. And just to give you a little bit of context, this has been my most anticipated movie of the entire year. I know that may be a bit of a hot take. Most people have been saying Superman, Fantastic Four, all these different films. But I just saw something in Thunderbolts from the moment it was announced. Just bringing these side characters together. I really liked all the characters, bringing them together. I just really liked it, and I thought the trailers were great. And so we got Thunderbolts, and I am just going to say right here, Thunderbolts is an absolute winner for Marvel. So this is going to be a completely spoiler-free review, so let's get started with the review. And, it's no surprise to anyone that the MCU's not been at its best recently. It has kind of been having this bit of a downfall in quality, and there has been a bit of quantity over quality and things like that. They've had CGI problems setting up the big bad. We were originally doing Kang with Quantumania and Kang Dynasty, then we've jumped over to Doom now, and we kind of just felt like where are the Avengers, and when are we going to start connecting these things together? So Thunderbolts puts together a group of loser side characters. They've all got their own issues. They've all done bad things. They're not heroes. They've not got superpowers, really. Some of them have got some, but, they're not really superheroes. And it somehow works amazingly. So our lead at the film is Yelena Belova, Florence Pugh, who just gives, as she did in Black Widow, a stellar performance. Really, really strong performance. One of the standouts of the film. She just knows how to portray this character and show so much emotion within her voice. And there's just so much there. And you've got David Harbour as well as Red Guardian. And their father and daughter dynamic is so sweet. And there's one in particular scene in the film that's really, really heartfelt and really tugs on the heartstrings. We've also got US Agent in here, John Walker from the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. He's a good character as well. I did quite like him in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I thought they did a good job at making you purposely not like him, not just making him an unlikable character that you're supposed to not like him. So I quite enjoyed that they actually did that, and I thought that was quite a good touch and a good idea to have him in here, because he fits well with the characters and offers just a different side to the team as well. We've also got Ghost in here as well from Ant-Man. Really strong character as well. Not the greatest character in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but just a fun character. I was quite surprised they put her on the team in the first place, but she works really well in it, and I think she has some of the best chemistry with the other characters. Of course, we've got Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. We know kind of his character, and he is Sebastian Stan, amazing as always. And we've got Taskmaster as well, who is good. I'll leave it at that. Let's not go anywhere else with that. The film is also really funny at times, and a big issue with the MCU these days is that they are focused way too much on humour. And Thor: Love and Thunder was just humour fest. That was all it was. It was just joke after joke after joke. That it couldn't take itself seriously. It was doing plots about gods getting killed and cancer and things like that. And it was doing screaming goats and naked Chris Hemsworth. With this film, they really found a good way to do what the old MCU did really well, is balance out the humour. The humour's there, but it never takes over on the serious scenes. And that is a big thing here, is this is definitely a darker MCU film to your average MCU film. The central plot is about depression and loneliness and coping with that, and it's past trauma as well, and redeeming yourself from doing something you regret. And it's really, really strong. It is a film that deals with these sorts of themes, and it's not something which it ever feels it just touches on once. It keeps coming back to it, and the way that it visualizes it without giving too much away is really effective and is really emotional, and it just offers such a more emotional connection to these characters, and it makes you want to see more of them, because you feel like you've by the end of this film, you felt like you've gone on this journey with them and you've experienced their feelings. And that is something which I think a lot of MCU projects recently have been lacking, is you can get your fun side characters, but you never really dig deep on why you like them. There's never that big connection. You know, with the Guardians of the Galaxy, we had all these characters who came from different backgrounds, and they come here and you expand on that storyline, and it grows a more connection. And that's what it does here. Another standout here is Lewis Pullman's Sentry, or as we know him as Bob. So, you know, he's been in the trailers quite a lot. He's kind of just been in the background. They haven't really revealed too much about him. They revealed he is Sentry and he's Bob. And I won't say anything else. And I think he is one of the best characters that have been introduced to the MCU post Endgame. Lewis Pullman gives such an emotional and also strong performance, because he evokes these things about mental health, depression so well that you feel it. You feel that connection. And it really, really tugs on your heartstrings. And again, the way they visualized it is so good. And the way that they build his character from this one side of being quite a small little side character to growing him into what he becomes is so amazing. I really, really appreciate it. I don't want to say any more because it will go into spoiler territory. But, you know, I did appreciate that this film was never afraid to go darker. It was never afraid to go to dark places that are quite unsettling at points as well. And they do go quite deep as well. Another thing I really enjoyed about this film is it's quite a simple story. I think this is a very friendly film to someone who's not the biggest movie or comic book fan. And there's just a lot to offer here. I think when it comes to the story itself, I mean, the first 2 acts are very grounded. There's not a whole lot of action, not a lot of CGI and things like that. It's just people. They're in a place. It's kind of like an escape story in some way. This is really difficult to talk about without spoiling it. But they're in this place and they've got to get out of here, and that's kind of all it is. There's not a lot else to it, and it turns into a bit of a road trip kind of thing in some way. And that's kind of it. Like, and I did quite appreciate that. And granted, I've got a couple little things to talk about when we get into the mixed to negative section of this. But, you know, it's good to mention. And I also thought that the CGI actually looked really good. A big thing with Marvel movies these days is the CGI has been really off with a lot of them. I didn't feel like that with this one. I thought the CGI looked amazing with this. Literally, I can't think of a moment that looked off, personally. You know, we look at Ant-Man and the Wasp or Thor Love and Thunder, you can just look at the CGI and it doesn't look right, whether that's the green screen or the actual picture, the motion picture. Things like that, it just looks great. And another compliment I can give to this film is, you know, I said it with Captain America Brave New World, is the big thing. My favourite thing about that film is it kind of felt like we were bringing things together a bit. It was giving us a goal and it was giving us a direction and an idea of where we're going. This film does nothing but expand on that, and it gives you more of an idea of, okay, that's where we're going. This is what we're doing. And we've been waiting for that for so long with the MCU. And it just feels like we're setting something up and that's where we're going. And I think the final thing I can say for this film, final thing, is it just feels like the good old days of the MCU. We'd get a new MCU film come out, they'd build hype, and they would introduce these nice characters and put them in together. And it works. It works really, really well. And I just, props to them at Marvel. They listened, they knew what we wanted, and they just did nothing but an amazing job with this film. So I'm giving it all to that. So with that said, let's move on to the mixed aspects of the film. And these aren't necessarily good or bad things, just some things you might want to know before you go into the film. The first thing is, does it have a credit scene, Thunderbolts? Yes, it does. It has a mid and a post-credit scene. The first one it's kind of just a joke, but it's also picking up something which was said before. It's actually really good. I actually really enjoyed it, and it was funny. Didn't feel like it went overboard. It felt like it was in place, and it made me laugh. And the end credit scene is something you do want to stick around for. It is something which will get you hyped. It might not be. It's probably not the best MCU credit scene. People are saying that. It's probably not. But it picks up where the film kind of ended, but it also gets you hyped for what's coming. And it's just, like I said a minute ago, it's a clear direction of where we're going, what we're doing. So that's all I'm going to say. Do look out, though, when you're reading the credits at the end, if you do. Just towards the end of the credits, they actually spoil the credits scene. And it's really annoying. So do just look out for that. So maybe just don't look at the credits, the scrolling credits. And another thing here is, what do you need to watch before watching Thunderbolts? And I actually think they did a really good job. It doesn't feel like you need to do homework to understand things. I felt like they explained things really, really well. I genuinely, I really appreciated it. I don't think there was a single thing that if you didn't watch that, you wouldn't understand it. But if you've got a few nights before you go and see it, Black Widow is worth watching because it introduces Yelena, Red Guardian or Lexi, and Taskmaster. That's a good one to watch if you've got time. Falcon and Winter Soldier, because that introduces John Walker. It's a series. And Ant-Man the Wasp is worth it as well. Those are the big ones. You could say Brave New World is worth watching, but because they mention it, but it's not the end of the world if you haven't seen it. It really doesn't matter. So those are the big ones. Those are like the big three, I'd say. But if not, I still think they do a good job at explaining it. And just a quick thing here is, I'd definitely say that this is a much darker MCU film. The MCU has kind of been slightly darker in past years. There's a lot of scenes that are visualized to be quite scary and things like that in some ways. It's not terrible, but there's a few darkish scenes in there. Just with the void and going backstories and trauma and dealing with mental health and things, and they visualize it in a way that might be quite frightening to some people. So that's just something you might want to know before going into it. But it's not too bad. So with that said, let's move on to the bad. And really, I don't have a lot to say about the bad, if I'm completely honest. Like, I genuinely don't. I've been trying to think about it. When I was watching it, I was like, what am I not enjoying about this film? Really nothing. I guess my one thing is, it is a little bit slow. I kind of wish that they did speed it up a little bit, especially in like the first, second act. There's like this area where they all meet, and there's this like this vault or base, you could call it. They're in that area for a big chunk of the film, and it didn't bother me too much. I just kind of felt like, okay, we could speed up a little bit, because it's not even that long of a film. It's only just over the 2-hour mark. So I thought we could just speed it up a little bit of what we're doing here. But again, it's not the end of the world. It wasn't too bad. It didn't bother me too much. I still had an absolute blast with this film. I guess the film does end quite abruptly. Like, it ended and I thought we had another 10-20 minutes left. But that might have just been my own personal issue of just enjoying it way too much. So I was kind of like, okay. But other than that, though, I really can't think of anything. I genuinely think they did a really great job. Also, they explain what the asterisk means. It's great. But genuinely, I can't think of anything else. I really loved this film, and I'm going to see it again, so I'm really excited to go and see that. But honestly, guys, go and check out Thunderbolts. It is a great MCU film. It's good because it doesn't feel like it needs a gimmick. You know, it's not like a multiverse film where you're expecting this character to show up, so you're on the edge of your seat. There's none of that. It's a grounded MCU film that knows where it's going. So I really, really enjoyed it. So in conclusion, I am giving Thunderbolts a 9.5 out of 10. I recommend you do go see this film. Friends and family, Marvel fans, anything. It's not one you want to miss. And don't go for that credit scene. It is worth sticking around for. But the film in general is great. It's a really, really fun watch. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely going to be one I'm going back to, and I might actually say it's a top shelf MCU film for me. It might be in my top 10, I gotta say. Genuinely though, this gets me more and more excited for Doomsday at this point, and I'm really excited to see these characters again. Love this film. Had an absolute blast with it. I recommend you do go see this film. I'd stay away from spoilers. This is a great film. I really, really loved it. And they do explain what the asterisk means and things like that. So it's fun. It's a really fun film. That's all I'm going to say for now, because I don't want to spoil it or anything. But yeah, guys, that is going to wrap up the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do comment, like, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, family. Let me know your thoughts on Thunderbolts down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Be somewhere in the middle. And I do plan on doing another MCU ranking, whether that be Phase 5 films or post-Endgame ones. I might do an MCU ranking, but I'm thinking of waiting until Fantastic Four, because it's not even that long away at this point. But yeah, so that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.